So we've come almost to the end of the HTML section. We're almost ready to tackle the big HTML project in the next lesson. Now, one of the main things we as web developers are going to use are validators. Now, looking at this HTML document right here, I have purposely made errors in here, but this is to simulate many of the errors that we as web developers are going to go through, because we're not perfect when we code. We make mistakes, we do things that we didn't even know we did, and sometimes when the website doesn't turn out how it's supposed to turn out, we come and we're left confused. So, one of the many things that are available to us as web developers are HTML validators. So, this is a program by the W3 Commission, and it's going to allow us to check for errors in our code. So we're going to go to Google and we're going to type HTML validator. And it should be the first one to pop up. Alright, so the first one right here, the W3C Markup Validation Service. So we're going to click on that. Now, there's different ways you can validate your code. You can do that by direct input, which is not the most convenient, or validate by file upload, or validate by URI. Now we're going to do file upload because this is the easiest. So we're going to choose the file that we want the W3C validation service to validate for us. So let's choose this file. Alright, now I purposely made this one with errors so we can see what it comes up with. So let's go ahead and upload that, and let's go click check. So when we click check, it's going to validate everything for us, and now we get a bunch of errors. Right? So now the service, the HTML validator, has told us that, hey, your code has errors in it, and here's some suggestions to fix it. So let's go over the first couple. So these type are not to worry about. These are nothing bad about your code. These are just always there. So let's look at the first error. So it says attribute borer not allowed on the element table. So as you can see, that was a typo that we did, and we should change that to border. So we can go over here and go to border. Now let's look at the next one. It says error, th start tag in table body. But when we have a th over here, and we close it off with a tr. That doesn't make any sense. So it's telling us that there's a problem there. There's a th. So let's go back over here. And the good thing, it tells us which line it's on. So line 12. Let's go over to line 12. And look, we have a th and we have a tr that's closing here. So let's go and change that. And let's change that to th. Let's go back over here. And let's go to number 5. So stray end tag TD. So let's go look at that from line 13. So we have a TH, favorite attractions, and oh look, we made a mistake. We put, instead of closing it off with a TH tag, we close it off with a TD. So let's go ahead and change that. Alright, and then lastly, it says the table row was 2 columns wide and exceeded the column count established by the first row, 1. Now we knew in the first problem, or I mean, should I say, the fourth problem, that we had a th or a td here, and it didn't recognize that this was a table heading. So it thought that there was only 1 column when actually there was 2 columns. So that when this correct code came through, it was like, wait, why do you have 2 columns over here when you only had 1 over there? Because it was interpreting this not as a table column, but as something as an error. So by fixing that original one, we're going to be fixing this one at the same time. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's go see what we can do by putting this back into the validator. So let's go ahead and check this again and let it validate. Okay, so now we get almost no errors except for one. So it's telling us that the border attribute on the table element is obsolete. So this is just a suggestion. It's not really an error. You're free to do this, but it's telling us to use CSS instead, which is something we really want to do. But since we haven't learned CSS yet, I'm gonna let you put it into the attribute of table. So this isn't something, this is not a big deal to worry about. There's no errors in here. It's just telling us that it's obsolete and that we should be using a styling sheet instead to specify the border. So the HTML validator service will be a really helpful technique in finding errors in our code and helping us create really good code that's efficient and that has no errors in it. So now let's move on in the next lesson to our big end of the section project.